Hey guys, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I'm just kidding. So welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who's been with me from the beginning, we're just gonna ignore the fact that I've been dormant for a while. So we'll park that aside and maybe we'll save it for another video at another time. But for now, welcome. And we are gonna do an updated houseplant tour and a condo tour. And that's because I did recently move to a new place this past summer. If you guys recall, I had like a south-facing window at my old place. And I was there for about 10 years. It was a two-story condo in the distillery, and I love that space. It was my first home here in Toronto. And yeah, so it was very hard for me to say goodbye to it, but it was time. And at one point, my houseplant collection got pretty wild and massive. Some of them I did move to the shop when I opened that up about 2 years ago, while others didn't make it. But some of those plants do still exist today, and you're going to see them as we go through this tour. And then some of the plants you're going to recognize are fairly new to me, and that's because I really wanted to, restart my collection again here at the new place and really take advantage of the lighting, because that was the number one requirement when it came to looking for a new place was lighting. The reality was my options was going to be very limited in Toronto, and that's because the housing market is insane. You don't get much for what you paid for, but I knew lighting was my number one requirement. And as you guys can see, we have these floor to ceiling windows. It's not a very big space. It's actually a bit smaller than my old place. And it's only a one bedroom plus den, but all of these floor to ceiling windows do make a difference. It makes the space look big. We have north facing window on this side and then east facing on this wall. At first, I thought I wanted like a southwest facing window because, that's probably the best lighting you can get. But the reality is it would have been way too hot in this space, even with the AC on, because during the summer, east-facing windows, in the morning it gets pretty warm in here. And you guys know I have a ficus. He's a flute ball and he does overheat, so I gotta be mindful of that as well. And if I did have a south-face window, I would most likely have to put the shades down to just control the temperature inside. And as a result, the plants wouldn't even get that full view of the sky, because really, that to me is really important, more so than direct sunlight, is how much view do the plants get of the sky. And pretty much in any space here, they got a pretty good view of the skies. So with that said, we're gonna go through a tour and I'm gonna show you guys each of the space and the plants we have there and really give you guys an idea on how much light they get, just based on the fact that I do have this northeast facing window and it's for the ceiling. So let's go. All right, guys, so we're gonna start here in the kitchen. I'm gonna show you guys a few of the plants I have here. And I do like this kitchen. It's small, but I do like the island. It makes a big difference in terms of cooking and counter space for the plants. Like my ficus bonsai here. This is a retusa in an S shape. You guys can see how cool this one looks. And this is my philodendron, Florida Goes. Look at this beautiful new leaf. This is a peperomia pink lady. And my new pilea or Pilea, peperomiotis. And this is my original Thai constellation monstera. Now, I've cut this so many times to propagate and share with other people. And you guys can see this is now the new growth. And it's crazy because when it first shot out, it looked like an elbow. And this actual leaf right here, it's browning a lot. And that's because pretty much it was mostly variegated and there was only a bit of green patch. The new leaf now has a bit more of a half moon, which is good. Sometimes too much variegation isn't that great. And then this is actually a new combination I made the other day. You have a peperomia parallel, one of my favorite peperomias, and obviously the variegated string of hearts. So I think this looks really cool. But yeah, I put them in this corner because, like I said, counter space with this island is really good, not for cooking or any of my other stuff, but mostly for plants. And these guys love it. And you guys can see how much view they have of the sky right there. Now, I'm hoping that no new condo gets built over there where it's going to block up the view in that sky. But really, that's all that matters when it comes to these houseplants, is as long as they got that nice view of the sky. Now, over here, I have a few plants by the stove. One is this lipstick plant. I don't know the variety of it, but I love this pattern. And someone actually gave this to me a couple years ago as a cutting. And look how much it's grown. And then over here, we have an aloe. And it's great to have this here in case I burn myself. This is a great way to heal that wound. But yeah, so, there's obviously a lot more space here to put more plants. But for now, that is what I have there. Now, in the living room, this is one of the new plants that I'm enjoying caring for. I've had it for a few months now. It is a eucalyptus plant, and look how beautiful this guy is. I love a eucalyptus. Obviously, they're great, they smell nice, but growing for them can be a little bit hard and tricky. I found the secret is give them good light or good view of the sky, and you gotta water this guy every 2 to 3 days because they are always thirsty. So you guys can see again how much view this plant has of that sky. And even though this can benefit about like a 4 to 5 hours of direct sunlight, it's doing really well right now, even in this east-facing window. And you guys can see all that new growth. Now, against this wall, I have a few things going on. A couple of these plants I normally have outdoors, especially during the summer, but with fall coming and winter, I had to bring them inside. You have my oldest plant ever. This is my jasmine. I still have it. At one point, I thought this guy was dead, but I was able to revive it back. And then over here, you guys can see this is my, what's this plant again? Wait, what is it? Not my jasmine. No, this was my jasmine. My jade plant. This is my jade plant, and you guys can see how much it's doing. I got this guy as a tiny little plant, almost like this, a few years back. And I'm trying to create like a bonsai or like a mini tree out of it. And so far it's growing really nicely. And again, I put this guy outside. This is my variegated plumeria. It still has leaves. Come winter, this is all gonna drop and we're just gonna have a stick. But every summer, it produces new leaves again. I've never gotten it to bloom, but maybe one day. There is my ficus. Hi, ficus. Hey, buddy. And behind him is actually my new favorite ficus. It is, let's see if we can get over here, the Ficus Shiveriana Moonshine, and you guys can see how beautiful the variegation is on this particular plant. I love the almost like hybrid or half moon of like the burgundy, and this has more of like that Tineke kind of variegation, but that nice speckled variegation. And some Shiverianas you're only gonna have, because I have another one and you'll see like this type of leaf, but this one has that nice hybrid look, and I think I really like this variety better. Then over here, by this huge Peruvian cactus or cacti. This I love. I love the height this guy gives for my space, and it's doing really well right now. So I was really happy. I normally have this in the shop for sale, but I had to buy one or take one home for me. So this is happy right now. And then I have a few of my other cacti here. This one is called, I forget what this one's called, like a milk one. This one is the starfish cacti or cactus that blooms like these cool looking flowers that apparently smells really bad, and I didn't know that. So we're gonna see if we can get it to bloom. And then over here is an orchid cactus, and you guys can see a bloom is coming. So I'm curious to see what that's gonna look like. But yeah, so those are the plants that's in. Oh, and of course, one you're gonna be familiar with. He's not as grand as he used to be, but this is my original still string of hearts that you guys have gotten to know through the years and that you've loved. And yeah, I'm hoping we're gonna get him back to his glory days. Now that we are settled, he has moved quite a bit. I did repot it a few times, so hopefully he's gonna bounce right back. But yeah, so those are the plants that's in the living room right now and kitchen. And then over here, we'll look at the den. So it's a little bit further back, and you guys can see how much light we have all the way back here. Still has a good view of that sky and that window. So we have over here my variegated string of hearts. So I'm hoping this guy does well. I did repot this guy recently. If you guys saw that short video where I potted a whole bunch of small ones into the 6-inch pot. And then this plant you'll recognize. I've had it for years. It is my Ficus burgundy. It's grown quite a bit. This was originally like a 6-inch version, and it's gone pretty tall and pretty, I guess, leggy. It's gonna be a tree one day, but yeah, I still have this plant. And then back here on my little credenza or wine rack here is my Ficus Enjoy. So this is a new one, and this is a Monstera siltipicana. No, yeah, Monstera siltipicana. So, but yeah, I really love Apotho, especially the Enjoy or the Pearls and Jade. But definitely one of my favorites. And then this is an orchid that I've had for a few months now. Still has its blooms, and you guys know you can get an orchid to rebloom. You don't have to throw it out once it's done blooming. And yeah, so now let's look over here. I have this ladder that I've had at my old place. Now you may say that it's facing, not facing the light. And that's totally fine because the plants I do have here don't necessarily want a lot of light anyway. And it is still getting a bit of light with the reflection, again, the open space. But this is my pothos, and not my original marble queen pothos, but it is a cutting of my original one. So I still feel like this is my original pothos. And you guys can see the marble queen variegation, beautiful. This over here is my philodendron micans, and it does get a bit of that north-facing light, so you guys can see, obviously not as much on the east-facing. And then we're starting over again with a new neon pothos, and this is an Aglaonema pink princess. So those are the plants I have on this shelf. Now for the living room space, you guys are gonna see some of the plants I do have here. It gets both the east and the north facing, but on my little coffee table, I got a philodendron Burle Mars variegated. This one's going nicely. This is my Alocasia Friedek variegated. It does like to follow the light, so I sometimes have to rotate him. But these are still fairly new to me. I've only had them for about a couple months, but it's not my first time taking care of philodendron or an alocasia. I just got to make sure I'm on top of these guys and not neglect them. And then over here, you're going to see another favorite plant that I can't believe I've never owned until this year is a fern. And this one is my rabbit's foot fern. And the reason why I love this is not only because the leaves are beautiful, but check out those aerial roots. They literally look like tarantula legs. They're so fuzzy and they're just so unique looking. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites. And so far it's doing well, but we'll see what happens when winter comes. This is my olive plant. My goal one day is to turn this into an olive tree, but we'll see. I don't remember the name of the succulent. If you guys do know, comment below. But yeah, it's pretty cool looking. And then on my little entertainment center here, you have a couple air plants. You have my Spanish moss. I love this guy. It's grown quite a bit. I think one day I'm probably gonna hang it against the wall, but for now I do like it laying here on this little like media unit. And then I got another small air plant here, and then this queen right here. Definitely one of my favorites. And air plants are generally easy for me as long as I remember to dip them in water or soak them in water at least once a month. And then down here you have my ZZ Raven, my original Albo. This is the top cutting. If you guys remember, I've had that one for a while. Again, I cut it so much that I want to share with other people. And then this is my other Ficus Shibriana Moonshine. And you guys can see that's completely different from the one I had by the window. This has more of just all of its leaf, kind of that speckled variegation. Doesn't have the patches of dark green. Still beautiful, but definitely the other one's my favorite. And then over here is my Euphorbia, and man, I love this guy. Just that nice malted green variegation on it. Just looks so cool. I think this is my first Euphorbia that I've owned, and yeah, I love it. Super easy, really just give it a lot of light, and I think I water this guy maybe once a month. Now on the shelf, you guys are gonna recognize most of these. These are my Hoyas, and you guys know I love Hoyas. They're super easy. This is my Parasitica. Again, I've had most of these for a while now. This is actually a Dischidia. This one is the watermelon one. Looks really cool. And you guys remember my little silver dollar vine? I've had this guy for a while as well. This is probably one of my oldest Hoya, the Macrophylla Vila latifolia now. So this is the Da Nang Vietnam. Really cool. And this is also another one of my oldest Hoya, the Ovavada variegata with the kind of splash on it. You also got a ZZ Chameleon there, and then a couple more snake plants. And you guys remember what this is? I forget what that one is. The Syngonium, and then that's another fern, the blue oil fern or something like that. So now in this corner by the pillar, I think I'm gonna do something on that pillar where we're gonna be able to hang more plants. I know my friend Natasha did something really cool because she also has a pillar in her place, and she did something really cool to it. So I think I want to like mirror that setup. But here is my new bird of paradise, and I love a bird of paradise. It just really gives that nice jungle look. And actually, when I found this bird of paradise, I noticed it had a bit of variegation, and I was like super excited and super stoked because I don't think I've ever seen one in person. Well, I think I did when I went to like Florida and went to the botanical garden there. But yeah, really cool. So I was hoping it would sustain it, but looking at the new leaf of that same plant, because there's like multiple plants in this one, It doesn't have any variegation, but maybe one day it'll come back. But yeah, I was really, really stoked when I found this guy. So over here, you're gonna see this plant. You're gonna recognize it. See if I can get a good view of it. But it is my jade satin syndapsis, and man, I love this guy. He was hanging out at the shop during the move and for a while there. But yeah, I finally brought him home. Really, one of my favorite syndapsis when it comes to this plant family. And then down here in the corner, I brought this guy indoors for the winter and fall. But it is my Ficus elastica ruby. This is the one that I cut. You guys remember I cut this guy at the top there and I got it to branch out and trying to turn it into a tree. So now in the bedroom, I don't have a lot of plants in the bedroom. I just have them on top of my bed here. I got my, what's this one again? It's a snake plant, obviously. Oh, it is the moonshine. Yeah, the moonshine snake plant. Really cool. It has that nice silver stripe. You got ficus right there. And this is my Sansevieria whale fin. I got this guy as a baby one, and it's shot out a new one right there. And then we have another ZZ chameleon there. So there you guys have it. That is the updated houseplant tour. And yes, there's definitely a lot more space where we can add a bit more plants. And I am going to do that. But I'm also going to be a little bit more intentional on which plants I do add. I want to make sure, obviously, I really love them and I can care for them, in this environment. And also, I don't want to get too carried away like I did in my old place where, it became really overcluttered because that can easily happen. Obviously, we love plants and sometimes we just get so carried away. But I know from my past experience, I'm just going to be a little bit more mindful and just be a little bit more intentional with the kind of plants I do have in this new space. But if there is a particular plant you guys saw during this tour that you want more information about on, how to care for it and whatnot, comment below and let me know, and maybe we'll get around in doing that video. Until then, I will see you guys next year. I'm just kidding. Maybe. Bye.